People turned their heads the moment the boy opened his mouth. It wasn't the kind of voice people expected to hear on a cold morning. It wasn't polished, trained, or shaped by coaches. It was raw, so raw it felt like truth itself was being sung out loud. A voice that carried warmth even when the world felt frozen. A voice that made strangers forget they were late, forget their rush, forget their worries for a moment. It made them pause, breathe, and feel. Some said it felt like hearing hope wrapped in sound. Others swore it awakened something inside them, something soft, something human, something they hadn't felt in years. But for Noah, the boy everyone stopped to listen to, singing didn't feel magical. It didn't feel special. For him, singing was simply survival. Every morning, before the city fully woke, Noah walked to the old subway entrance with a worn-out scarf and a voice he inherited from memories he refused to let die. He stood at his usual spot, a cracked piece of pavement near a flickering streetlight. It wasn't much, but it was his stage. Or at least, the closest thing he had to one. He would close his eyes and hum the tune his mother once sang to him when nights were warm and life felt gentle. That melody was all he had left of her. Now the world around him was different. The air was colder. His pockets were emptier. His tiny home was quieter than any home should ever be. Singing helped him forget. Or maybe it helped him remember. He wasn't always sure which one he needed more. People often tossed coins into his small metal cup. Some smiled kindly, others walked by pretending they didn't hear anything at all. But Noah didn't sing for coins. He didn't sing for attention. And he definitely didn't sing for applause. He sang because silence scared him, because silence reminded him of loss, of nights alone, of the kind of loneliness that even warm blankets couldn't chase away. One winter morning, as snowflakes drifted down and the city hurried past him with steaming cups and tired eyes, Noah's voice cracked for the very first time. Not because he hit the wrong note. Not because he wasn't warmed up. But because he was exhausted. His stomach grumbled. His fingers trembled beneath his gloves. And for a moment, he thought maybe he shouldn't sing today. His breath turned into little clouds of fog as he stood there, staring at his metal cup. There were only 2 coins inside. He reached into his pocket and touched the old photograph he kept with him at all times, a picture of him and his mother sitting on a bench, her hand resting on his shoulder, both smiling as if the world was kind. "I'm still here," he whispered to the photo, though the wind carried his words away. He closed his eyes again, letting the cold sting his eyelids. He took a deep breath. Then, even though nothing inside him felt strong enough, he opened his mouth, and sang. At first, the sound was small, almost fragile. But then it grew. Soft at the edges, heavy with emotion, and carried by something bigger than hunger or fear. It rose into the winter air like a small sunrise desperately breaking through a thick, gray sky. People slowed. Then they stopped. One woman placed her hand over her heart. A man pulling luggage froze mid-step. A child tugging on his mother's coat whispered, "Mom, listen." Noah didn't notice any of it. His eyes were shut, his mind somewhere far away, a place where warmth still lived, where his mother still hummed beside him. And without meaning to, he poured everything he had left into the song, his hope, his ache, his longing. And on that cold morning, without a stage, without a spotlight, without anything but a cracked sidewalk beneath his feet, a simple boy made the world feel something extraordinary. The grand double doors of the music conservatory were usually closed to the outside world, but that morning they stood open, letting the crisp winter air flow into the marble lobby. Inside, Students with perfect posture and pressed clothes waited nervously for their turn. Their voices were rehearsed, their confidence carefully constructed, their dreams carried in folders of sheet music. None of them expected that the most powerful voice of the day would come from across the street, from a boy who didn't even know an audition was happening. Noah's voice drifted in like a soft wind at first, barely noticeable among the chatter. But then a sustained note echoed through the entrance, delicate yet trembling with a kind of truth no instrument could imitate. Heads turned. Conversations faded. The sound moved through the hall like a memory returning home. At a small table near the registration desk, an elderly judge paused mid-sentence. His pen stopped. His breath hitched, as if someone had just called his name from many years ago. He closed his eyes, listening, not just with his ears, but with something deeper, something tender. He whispered, "That voice, who is that?" Ignoring the confused looks of the other judges, he stood and walked toward the doors. Each step felt heavier, as if the music itself was pulling him forward. When he reached the entrance, he saw a small crowd gathered near the subway steps. Commuters stood in a semicircle around a boy wearing a thin jacket and singing like the cold didn't matter, like his voice alone could warm the air. Noah finished a note and exhaled shakily, unaware he'd captivated an entire building behind him. The judge approached slowly, as if he were approaching something sacred. "Son," he said gently, "where did you learn to sing like that?" Noah took a tiny step back, cautious. "I didn't learn. I just sing because I need to." The judge's eyes softened. He recognized that kind of honesty, the kind people rarely speak unless life has given them no choice. "Would you come inside and sing for us?" he asked. "No requirements. No rules. Just your heart." Noah looked at the doors behind the man. The conservatory was bright, polished, intimidating. Marble floors. High ceilings. People who looked important. People who looked like they belonged. "I can't go in there," Noah murmured. "I don't look like everyone else." The judge's voice grew warmer, steadier. "Great music never comes from looking like everyone else. It comes from feeling something everyone else has forgotten." Still, Noah hesitated. He looked down at his clothes, the frayed cuffs, the faded patches, the shoes that had carried him through more hardship than any child should know. He didn't want to embarrass himself. He didn't want people staring. He didn't want to be the outsider everyone noticed for the wrong reasons. But he also didn't want to walk away from someone who had listened without judgment. So he nodded. The judge smiled, a smile that carried gratitude, relief, and something almost protective. "Come with me," he said quietly, placing a hand near Noah's shoulder without touching, giving him space but offering comfort. They crossed the street together. For the first time in a long time, Noah didn't feel invisible. Inside the conservatory, murmurs filled the room as people noticed him. He could hear the whispers, "Who is he? He's not dressed for auditions. Why is he here?" His chest tightened, but he kept walking. The judge led him to the center of the hall. Noah's small footsteps echoed across the marble. He felt like a shadow among giants. Then the judge spoke clearly, his voice carrying authority and warmth. "Everyone, this young man is here to sing. Listen with respect." Noah inhaled deeply. His hands trembled. His heart pounded. And then he opened his mouth. One note left him, soft, fragile, uncertain. Then another, stronger, fuller, truer. And within seconds, the entire hall fell silent, hearing not just a voice, but a story.